When my mama said, stupid is as stupid does, she might have been talking about this podcast. It's sort of like a box of chocolates. You never know how long it's going to be before you get intestinal cramps. That's all I have to say about that.
All right, we're back. Episode number 2.
They said it wouldn't last. They said
we survived.
Oh, I misspoke. They didn't say they hoped it wouldn't last. But hey, back at you. I'm Dave.
I'm Juan.
And this is Dave and Juan.
More time.
We're getting so smooth doing that.
Man, you'd think we had planned that.
You would. And interesting. A lot of feedback. I'll let you were mentioning before about how surprised we were by.
Yeah, just, feedback from people I know, people I haven't seen in forever, people calling and emailing saying about, just, wow, it looks so tight, how, the quality is good. I was at a funeral on Monday before the first episode dropped,
right,
and literally people who I haven't seen in forever coming up to me saying, you liked wiener spaghetti.
We've got pictures, so thank you to the people that actually sent pictures. I'm not a brown gravy kind of person, but rock and roll on that. I had 4 different people volunteer to make me one, which is great. I'm not going to your house. I don't live near any.
I had a friend from North Carolina sent me a picture of Chef Boyardee hot dog spaghetti, though that were something special.
And she's throwing some shade on there. My running joke with everybody through the years is that WKRP, the TV show, was not a comedy. It was a documentary.
I've gone back now every year for Thanksgiving. Yeah, you got to watch the turkey drop,
With God as my witness.
I thought turkeys could fly. True story. So I was in high school when WKRP was on, and I said, this looks like just totally cool. There was a little radio station just up the bayou from my house in Donaldsonville. It was called KSMI. So I called up to see if I could go check it out. I just wanted to see what it was like in a radio station. The guy said, you want to read in a mic? I said, sure, I'm here. I got a weekend gig. I think that was more because I was willing than because I was able.
Small radio. I got into radio. My first semester at Nichols, I can't believe they did this, but it was great back in the day. There was a school bus. So the parish ran school buses.
Yeah, we had school buses to Nichols. I forgot about
that. Right. Yeah. It ended up being one of my favorite semesters because there were 2 guys on the bus who were much older. They were both seniors. I was a freshman, and they were the funniest people in the world. And I just loved hanging out with these guys. And one of them worked at the radio station. And when he was telling me about that, I never, I didn't think about radio. Like, how do you do that? And I said, come on by. And went on by, and I was just mesmerized, the wall of albums and playing. And he talked into the mic, and I was just like, this is so cool. And he said, look, it's nothing, just sign up. And, all the shifts are taken, but you can be a substitute, and you never know. And lo and behold, I got a call a few weeks later to substitute, and they'd showed me how to cue up a record and get everything ready. And I had it all planned. I forget the song that was the ending, but I was ready. I was, ready to turn the mic on. Had my song queued up, and the song faded, and I popped on the mic, and I went to talk, and I went, and I hit the next song and started playing. So a little bit of dead air. And then I sat back and turned the mic off, took my breath, said, oh, this is not how I go on. And then the next time it started, and that's a story I tell people, and then I never shut up. So the next time the words started coming out, it never ended. It's like, oh, okay, I got this. This is good.
I hadn't thought about this in years. But the first song I played on radio station at Nichols was Roundabout by Yes. And yeah.
Strong start. strong start.
I just remember I'd figured out what I was going to say and everything. And, and I said some stupid stuff. And of course, then I went to, blah, 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 blah. And yes, it's time to rock. And then I realized I never turned the mic on, which was like thankful. Could it have been more cheesy?
Well,
back in the college radio days, it was a little something. I got a little bit of,
I just always got a kick out of everybody had to have a show. It's the something show.
Yeah.
The something show. And I'm like, you got to put some work in it to call it a show. You reading a PSA every third song and giving me the weather is not necessarily a show. I still, thanks for tuning into my show. I didn't even know you were there, bro. And I finally got my first full-time shift. And that's how that Delirious stuff stuck, because there was this guy named Mark Harrington. I say he was named. I'm sure he still is. I hope he's still around. And
he is. Mark is an author.
I'm impressed he reads. So that's good. That's that's an old joke. That's an old joke. Mark was a great guy, but he would be the guy introducing me when I came on after him, and he would just like, hey, coming up next, we got Dangerous Dave Martin. And then one time it was Diabolical Dave. And then it was, he just ran out of D words. And I think the last word he got to, however many weeks into this, was delirious. And I literally think he ran out of D words. So the second time he introduced me as Delirious Dave, I figured, I guess that's what I am. And, and 30 years later, I still got people at Walmart screaming at me. But there was power in it back then, because it wasn't like anything. Anybody, you can go to Spotify, you can go to iTunes, you can go. So you had music that people didn't have.
Right. And it was music that you could take pride in the fact that, this is music you don't know, but check it out. I like it. So I think
I never did that. You did that. You were one of that crew. You were probably the shows I didn't listen to. Nothing personal, just because I'm not looking to expand my, I get it. I'd probably be that way now. If I was on radio now, I'd probably be pretty pompous about, you guys need to hear the fourth cut.
The B-sides.
I don't think the Goo Goo Dolls are getting the love they deserve. And here we go with Rick Springfield, Everybody's Girl. Right? You just what you gonna do? That's
talking about radio and how it's different now in music, the way kids get their music now, and the whole dedication thing. I guarantee you, my kids, your kids, have never called a radio station in the middle of the night and asked a jock to dedicate the live version of Freebird to them. Yeah, there was just something about that. They said my name on the radio.
I never did that. I would like when you'd get a request to play a song, but then can you give it like a second or two before you start, and don't talk over it, because people just want to
record it.
As soon as a new song came out, that's what they want to do. They want to record that song. Okay, fine. Talking about that, I guess I did get some people that knew pointed out that I should have given credit. The son that was the COOYON runner-up COOYON of the week is actually the guy that wrote and played the theme song, our little theme music. That's all him. He's one of these. He's one of these guys. He plays everything, puts it together. And I always told him, I said, dude, if I could do what you did in college, well, first of all, you guys wouldn't be here, because there's no way I'd have been around, to meet your mom years later. But you got skills, man. You got skills.
Yeah. One of my sons is teaching himself. He's a musician as well. He's teaching himself to play banjo. The obvious question is why? Why? I don't know, because he plays darn near every other instrument. So
okay. Yeah, I get it. You just don't ever, but you just don't typically. What situation are you in where you're saying, what we need? Only somebody busts out a banjo.
He's got a travel banjo, so he can take it on the road.
I just wish somebody would, Steve Martin is the only guy who ever made that remotely, and he'd do these shows with Martin Short the last few years, and they're hysterical shows. But I think he just did that to be able to get on stage and play banjo, because when you can do something you want to show off, you show it off. We're talking about radio before. I don't remember Young calling into radio stations, but I do remember a time, and it said this has a Bayou tie to it. I called a radio station in Atlanta. So I was, we'd moved already. I'm an adult. I'm working. I'm always driving to the airport. And at the time, Bobby Hebert had retired from, he played for the Falcons, and he was very popular. And he was one of the most popular. The sports station in Atlanta loved Bobby because he was just, fun. He's Bobby, right? He was always Bobby. He had the greatest stories and just funny stuff. So he was on there one day. I'm driving. I just happened to catch, Bobby's on the station. So I'm thinking, I was sitting in the stands for the state championship. South Lafourche, I was in the stand. He's older than me. I was like in 7th grade, I think. I'm thinking, you know what? I'm going to call the radio station and say, I just want to say hi to Bobby and tell him that a South Lafourche Tarpons out here in Atlanta that was actually in the stadium when South Lafourche won the state title. I knew that was going to be a get in, right? I knew that was going to happen. So, and anybody call screeners at radio stations are the worst. They're just, they're jerks. They're that far away from being on the mic, right? So they're just always.
It's a power play.
The power play. So he's telling whatever. So I said, okay, get ready when it come to you. And I guess they might've told Bobby, we got a guy from South Lafourche. So my first thing, it was on a time delay. I'm sure they had like a 5-second. Mm-hmm. So my first words out of my mouth when they said, call or go to you. And I went, hey, Bobby, comment ça va? They cut it. They dropped me. They thought I'd cursed. They thought. So I hear his side, Bobby saying, wait, what happened to, and they just went on to something else and they hung up on me. And I'm like, so yeah, I had a chance to just reminisce about the state high school game, but I had to say, comment ça va? Which is not curse words, by the way. Anybody that doesn't, it's just how you doing? It's a Cajun, hey, comment ça va? Not Atlanta.
Here, I'll take this thing total full circle. So this is years ago at Jazz Fest. The company I was working for gave me tickets to the Big Chief tent, which is a VIP area. And we went to see Jimmy Buffett. So we're right on the side of the stage. You got your bathrooms, you've got, a private bar and everything. And I don't know, 3 or 4 songs into it, I lean over to Joey, my wife, who is actually named Joey and spelled like a guy. That's her real name.
It sounds like you've said this quite a bit.
I said, that's Bobby Hebert on the side of me. And she said, who's Bobby Hebert? I said, he's freaking best quarterback of the Saints ever. This is before like Drew Brees days and everything. It's Bobby Hebert. We live in an instant world, or kids are always looking for that instant reaction. So I was just trying to think of some of the things that they lose out on. I mean, things like waiting in line for concert tickets.
Didn't feel like you were losing out when you were doing it.
No. I camped out in Biloxi for Rick Springfield tickets all night.
I'm not going to hate on that. Not going to hate on that.
It doesn't seem terrible, except you're looking up and flying all around my head are bats. So kids will never get to do that. You plug in, okay, tickets go on sale at 10 o'clock. I'm logging on at 9:55 and getting my information in.
Did you get your tickets?
Front row, man. Front row.
Did you really? Did you really? What year was that? Do you remember?
Yeah, 80.
Oh, he was prime Rick.
Oh yeah.
Prime Rick, like selling out
touch tour.
Yeah, selling out LSU Assembly Center, selling what other place was Red Stick Jam, I think was back when Baton Rouge did Red Stick Jam, and all into like Rick Spring. I've seen him like probably a dozen times.
I've seen him. Last time, and I'll tell you that we got to go backstage and for a little meet and greet, and my wife gleefully said, my husband has a crush on you. I said, great. That was really cool. Thanks.
It's not the first time he's ever heard. It's not the first time he's ever heard that. Yeah. I mean, he looks good. For 70 something. That's when you know, right? But myself, I wasn't big on, I hated standing in those lines. I got spoiled a little bit in radio. So sometimes you get tickets sent to you and stuff, but I remember my getting in line or missing in line story was Jimmy Buffett. And every time he would come to New Orleans, it would just sell out. I mean, you couldn't do it. Now it's too lazy, or I'm not going camp out at the mall or whatever. Or like one time I showed up thinking, idiot me, like I'm just going to show up the day after tickets were on sale. Like I never could get Buffett tickets. So out of the blue, he did a charity event. I'm finally going to get to see Buffett. So great. My fiance at the time, we go, I shouldn't say it like that. I married her. So like when you say like at the time, right? We weren't married yet. So we get out there with some friends and, put on the tux, and it ended up being a great night. All right. It ended up being a great night because I get to my table and it was assigned seating for some reason. And I'm sitting across from Morris Bart, right? Which is the funniest thing in the world to me.
One call.
That's all. And I'm just, are you kidding me? Like funny, just okay. I'm thinking, I'd have thought you'd have had a better table than to be sitting with me, but I didn't know at the time that the MCs that night, they were getting introduced. I didn't know who the MCs were going to be. And the guy comes out and it's Rob Schneider, right? Rob Schneider of Saturday Night Live. Yeah. And he just happened to bring
making copies
guy. And he just happened to bring his sidekick, Adam Sandler. Because at that time, Adam Sandler wasn't a featured act. He had just begun on Saturday Night Live. So now here's the stupidity part of it. They're there. Adam Sandler's there, and that was just when he was, he played a song with the guitar and everything. But some people knew it. I'm 10 feet from him, and they get off stage. I literally go talk to him if I want, but I didn't want to move because Buffett's coming on. And the cool thing about that was I ended up my first concert seeing Jimmy Buffett was about 10 feet away, which was just you talking to him between.
You could have inspired going back to Adam Sandler. What was his bit? Was it?
Cajun Man?
You could have inspired that.
What a man. I'm gonna have to look that one up.
Yeah.
So it was a good night.
Check the time.
It was a good night. And if it wasn't for not being able to get the tickets, I never would have done that. Now the weird part of that night was I went to the restroom and I get in there and there wasn't a lot of folks when I walked in there and there are urinals. So I walk up to a urinal and I notice there are two guys standing behind me, just sort of observing, which that's New Orleans, but that's not what we were. And I don't know why. And then I look over and I was next to Roger Clinton, Bill Clinton's brother.
Was he drunk?
Oh yeah. Yeah. I'm gonna go out on a limb. What was drunk, something, I don't know, but yeah. We chatted. How you doing, Roger? Good to see you. That's always that awkward moment.
Up here.
Yeah. Keep it up. But yeah, it was a fun night.
It's 8-track tapes. Now you've got Spotify, you've got every kind of music thing where I listen to what I want now and listen to it over and over again. We had 8-track tapes where, you had 4 songs on one program. And if you wanted to listen to your song again, you had to listen to the other 3.
Back in the day at 8-track, I remember in the RCA Music Club.
See, we used to do the deal where you just use a different name, or I'd sign up somebody else. And so then
at your address,
at my address,
yeah,
and then I just get all of those.
And
I had an 8-track tape player. Craig was the brand. Craig Sound
Craig.
System.
Oh, absolutely. I remember Craig.
It was in the glove compartment of my car because there was no other place to put it. So,
Powered by batteries? Powered by batteries?
No.
You hooked it into the car.
I had it on because all I had in the car at the time was an AM radio.
We had I think we borrowed, I think it might have been my aunt's, a portable 8-track. It might come to think of it, I don't think it ran on batteries. It must have plugged into the cigarette lighter or something back then. But I remember making a long road trip with the family, and we had 6 in the family, 3 sisters across the back seat. I'm sitting always in the middle seat, no seat belt, holding the portable 8-track. Elvis, Aloha from Hawaii, man. I knew that concert like to this day.
The Dixieland trilogy at Aloha from Hawaii.
To this
the
day.
Coolest musical moment ever. It's like during the bridge of the song, Elvis is kind of looking out on the audience while the choir or his backup singers or just going at it. And the look on his face is like, all is well in the kingdom of Elvis.
Ever tell you about the time I almost got thrown out of Graceland?
No.
Yeah. I didn't
Criticizing the shag carpet?
No, I was okay. So we got there. This was years ago. I've been there a few times, but the first time was with a group, and we were in a conference or something going on in Memphis, and we may have been a little loose. And we get there. Celebratory. Yeah, because it's Graceland, man. And what got me was, and Graceland itself is gorgeous. It's just a beautiful, if you've been there, it's just, the grounds are beautiful. Now, they kept the inside like it was when Elvis was there. And my first thing I was struck by when I walked in was Elvis lived in a deer camp. They didn't like hearing that. And only because, right, if a deer camp is, get this, get that, we got drunk one night and bought, whatever. And that's sort of what I'm sure it was all crazy expensive at the time, but nobody was walking around saying, yo, we need that white shag. And by the time she started, I think she called security, or she kind of mentioned that there might be, trouble so by the time we got to the jungle room, and that's just something in itself, right? But the cool thing about it, which they should have talked more about, was they actually did recordings here. Like they should have talked about, these are the songs that were recorded in this thing and whatever. But instead they're telling you about, but this is what got me in trouble. Just believe it or not, Elvis picked out everything in this room himself. And I just couldn't help myself. I'm standing back there and saying, one night Elvis got high on it and bought all the patio furniture. And which was mean. Shouldn't have done that. That wasn't his drug of choice.
You paid, man. You paid good money to be in there.
Next thing you know, there was this woman tapping me on the shoulder, and I wasn't the first guy she ever confronted. And she just said, one more comment like that, son, and you're going to leave the Graceland premises. But yeah, so Elvis, the 8-track, we got side to 8-track. Mine, the one that always got me was the songs that faded. In the middle. Because they couldn't make it.
The cha-chank, cha-chank.
And with me, it was Sticks. Sticks, Pieces of 8. Great album. Renegade, which is a great song. They still do. I saw Sticks. Well, again, nobody saw anybody really last year. Yeah. They're still doing Renegade. Renegade's a great song, but I remember the first time on the radio I ever heard, because I heard it on 8-track way before it was on the radio. Mm-hmm. And I remember the first time I heard the song on the radio.
You were into deep album cuts.
Everybody, if you had 8-track, you were all into deep album cuts. That thing just played. And I remember the first time I heard the song where it didn't fade, I was like, it's supposed to fade right there.
It's the album version, the dance mix.
RCA Music Club. That thing was amazing. All these things for a penny. And although it's against the law, they always said to enter into a contract with a minor. And that's the majority, really. The majority of folks signing up for those things were 12-year-olds, 13-year-olds. I signed up for it.
Oh, I've joined so many times because every time you have to change a collection from different medium. Yeah. Okay. Now I want all my old albums on CD. And
well, they got me a couple times where you forget to send this thing back in. They ship you have to mail it back in. And one ended up being a happy accident. I got Supertramp Breakfast in America by accident. I never would have bought that. And the funny thing was, years later, that was like my mom's favorite album. Mom, she's like, I just like that 8-track with it's got that lady that it's got the waitress on it. She didn't even know the name of the band. So we did last week's first episode, and we're not saying that we're going to have one every week. But don't get me wrong, there are plenty of COOYONs out there.
There's a lot of options out there.
A lot of options, but so we said we're not sure we're gonna do it every week, but when they have one, they have one. Last week's was kind of funny. We got good feedback on that. This week had a funny story even before the COOYON. So explain what was going on. I'm sitting in my office working, and I get a text from you.
Yeah, one day this week I had to drive to New Orleans, which was intended to be a quick trip there and back. I sat on the spillway between Lafayette and Kenner for about 2 hours. So needless to say, the trip wasn't quick. I'm just sitting there, we're over the water and everything. That could have had something to do with it. And I see this guy 2 cars in front of me getting out of his truck. And I'm trying to figure out what he's doing. And then I said, is this guy about to go to the bathroom right here? So I pull out my phone and try to record it. And sure enough, there he goes.
Can we just pause the story right there? So as in last week, last week we established, I think we had deux COOYONs on last week. This week, you might have stepped, like if you're a reporter, you don't ever want to become part of the story. But the guy that starts recording the guy taking a leak on the side of the road.
Right. Well, last week I said, I was astounded that someone on the plane over Denver pulled out their phone to videotape the engine on fire. So I thought about that as I pulled out my phone.
But you texted me saying what?
But I texted him because right after, when he got back in his truck, I realized I didn't hit record. So I texted you to say, man, I just missed a potential COOYON of the week moment. And I explained to you what happened.
And I was sitting there going, oh, man, I think I'm about to text it back. Dang, too bad. But,
so
we missed it.
Literally 5 minutes later, because I checked the time to go back and see when I texted you again. Same guy got out of the truck again and went for even longer. So this time I got it, which, it's all discrete footage.
He just had shy bladder the first time.
That's what I'm thinking.
What happened? He kind of had to go and then realized, got back in the car thinking I can man it up. I can, and then apparently couldn't.
But it's like, I've gone once. What's the difference now?
And the Mercedes in front. So there's a Mercedes in between you and that guy.
Yeah. They didn't seem to react nearly as quickly as I did.
I just don't. They probably didn't get the view you guys. They were too close. But I think that's a we can throw that one into the COOYON. I know there are a lot of folks out there would argue, say, no, that's just nature. You got to do what you got to do.
Yeah, but your son had an incident.
And just, God love him. And it's been a rough semester so he's staying home this semester. He's taking online classes, but he's staying home and, get to see friends as many times. So somebody asked him to go to San Antonio. So I figured, okay, they're going to Six Flags, whatever, Fiesta, Texas, whatever it is in San Antonio. And I figured I'd be a nice guy. And I used some points, got them a hotel room on the Riverwalk, really nice hotel on the Riverwalk. So I'm being, so it's sort of a double.
You're the champion.
It's a double COOYON, but it's a double COOYON story and you got to be careful, right? You get what you get aggravated for. So get them set up in a nice hotel. Got a pool on the roof of it. It's on the Riverwalk. I mean, it's nice, but we're old guys. We're Gen X old guys. We're talking Gen Z. So after they do they have their day. They have fun. Where do they go? They drive an hour to a friend's apartment. Out in some podunk place because they want to catch up and my head explodes. I'm just, how about they drive in, just hang out? But so you can't be, okay, they have fun. They were safe. And the next day on the way back on a Sunday, they were guessing going to do lunch before coming home. And I get a call.
Something nice in the town.
Yeah. I get a call on a number I don't recognize. It's a Houston number. And I'm not going to answer it. I just turn it off and then it rings again, same number. And I would normally just block it right there, but I didn't. I was doing something. So the third time it rang and the only thing I was thinking, my son, and I answered the phone and it was my son calling on somebody else's phone. And at first I'm like, what's up? You okay? He says, Dad, I got some bad news. What? So you immediately get all worried about, oh geez, they've been in a wreck, whatever. And that's always in his phone with the story. So apparently, and I cannot tell you in the 20 years of his life, how many stories have started off with. So apparently, when you're having a nice lunch at a nice Mexican restaurant right on the river, you probably don't want to put your phone down on the table. And he just is, his phone's in the river, and he just splash, and he's like, that's just got some bad news. And I guess he thought I was going to be mad, and I was like, that's an expensive mistake, bro. It's yours. I'm apparently not nearly as crushed as you are, but good luck. And then I even pinged, like I looked at, the phone, you can look at Find My Phone and stuff. And I've got like Live 360, and I'm looking at it going, yeah, I can tell you exactly where it's. I think I can tell you what part of the river it's in, son.
If you dive.
Yeah. You want me to ping for it? He thought about it. He said that. He goes, I think I'd get in trouble if I jumped in the river to get it. And I was like, You wouldn't get in trouble. You'd get typhus.
Yeah, I had not a good idea.
San Antonio, man, listen, I love the Riverwalk, but no, you don't. I feel bad for the ducks swimming in that thing sometimes. Like, ooh, ducks, do you know what's in that water? But so yeah, he was on the line for COOYON of the week until you got the footage. So we got that. So
we need, feel free, guys. Anybody who's, you got somebody who you think should be considered for the COOYON of the week, go ahead and give us a shout.
It's right. Dave and Juan at protonmail.com. We will. These things. What's the last concert you went to before?
Oh gosh.
So COVID didn't shut you down. You were just.
Yeah, I don't. It may have been. I actually do a lot of contemporary Christian music concerts, so it may have been. I know who it was. Mercy Me, Christian band, Mercy Me. So, before that, it might have been U2 for the anniversary of Joshua Tree.
Yeah, I didn't see they came around. Didn't see that one. My last concert here was Howard Jones.
Oh man.
Yeah, he was good. He just showed up. He played the House of Blues, and I was on that kick to bring my kids, my Gen Zers to see. Yeah. And that was my thing with Howard Jones. It's like, this dude played Live Aid. Anytime you get a chance to see anybody who played Live Aid, and he was great. And the warm-up act was Men Without Hats. Remember that?
Safety dance, man. Safety dance.
I'm not gonna lie. Guy brought it. Now, the lead singer of that band, Men Without Hats, is the spitting image these days of George Carlin.
Oh, wow.
If you remember when George Carlin was in shape with a t-shirt, that's this guy. It's just hysterical. And they're good. They brought it. They brought it. And then we had stuff started getting canceled. I had Goo Goo Dolls tickets got canceled. We had tickets to Hamilton was coming to put off. But
I'm not big on stadium shows. It's like,
well,
been there, done that. Yeah. No, not the ones you talked about. I love House of Blues shows, small. There's a theater here in Baton Rouge. That's about 300 seats at the Manship Theater.
Right.
Phenomenal acoustics there. Saw Till Tuesday, or Amy Mann from Till Tuesday.
She's still around?
Years ago. Yeah.
I saw her warm up for Rick Springfield. There we go. Tie that back in at LSU. Mm-hmm. We got some good. So we have a place here not far from, literally 10 minutes from my house. Seats about 5,000. Really, really, really nice venue. Mm-hmm. So you get some decent size acts. I saw Sting there. He's still.
He's still good.
It's embarrassing how much of a crush my wife still has on Sting. And I can't even blame her.
Have you seen anything with Phil Collins lately?
I've heard of people that have seen him in concert that say it's phenomenal.
But Google some of the stuff I've seen where, and maybe this is a bit old, where he just looks like an crazy old guy. He's in a wheelchair.
Really?
On stage. Yeah, just looks angry.
I heard he got to the point where he really couldn't play the drums anymore because of arthritis and stuff. But I had a friend that saw him in Denver a couple of years ago that said just a fantastic show. In fact, he brought his son played the drums.
Wow.
That's what I actually like about the bands, and I feel bad with all the shutdown for a lot of these 80s bands, because they're out there now and they sound better than they ever have. Right. And because they're not high anymore. I explained it to my kids. And they're appreciative of what's going on. Right. A lot of these folks where there was probably a gap, they're not making any money selling music, and you had the huge acts, but you had a lot of good bands
I think the casinos kind of brought back with the resurgence for a lot of bands.
A bit,
You
yeah.
know, but just casino towns. I know in Mississippi there's a lot of bands. We don't get much of anything in Baton Rouge anymore.
Houston gets some pretty big shows, but then it's just the casinos. But then House of Blues is good size
Hmm.
stuff. But yeah, my son's first concert years ago was, it was amazing. It was Cheap Trick, Poison,
Wow.
Def Leppard, and it was just what I remember about that show, it was nice people gave us some really nice seats, but there wasn't a curse word in the entire evening.
Wow.
Not one. Rock and roll, not a curse. And I remember saying this after, they know their target market.
Oh,
And
yeah.
what I
Yeah.
like about
It's-
these bands is they understand now, they're appreciative of being out there making good money,
Mhm.
because nobody makes any money selling music anymore, but they make good
Right.
money on these concerts. And yeah, they were phenomenal. And we saw another one later. But I wanted to get to this, and it's a I joke with friends about this all the time, about who's the best band from the 80s or 90s that are still out there working it. I'm always Goo Goo Dolls. I'm a Goo Goo Dolls.
I love the Goo Goo Dolls.
Yeah. So we're fanboys. Def Leppard still, seen them a couple times. Def Leppard still fantastic. Now some people want to jump in and say Journey, and I say no, because that's not Journey. It's
Right.
a cover band.
Yeah.
They sound amazing. I saw them. They sound. I'm not hating on the young guy that sings. He is phenomenal. But Steve Perry's still breathing. Steve Perry's still out there, And I'll give Styx credit. I saw Styx here. I wish Dennis DeYoung was back with those guys. I mean, I love Styx.
A lot of bad feelings.
Oh, they hate each other.
Have
Bad
you
feelings.
seen Tommy Shaw doing gigs with a full orchestra?
Oh, one of the best videos on. Well, I'm not sure about the whole orchestra, but there's a video out there. He's with a kids orchestra in
I've seen that.
I think they're doing "Angry Young Man." I think is a song that
He does the whole set. I mean, it's amazing.
It's phenomenal. No, and he again saw him a little over a year ago here in town with Styx, and he can still hit. He's 60 something, like upper 60s.
He might be older than that.
Still just crushes those. And so that's what I appreciate about these acts that are still out there. I saw Pat Benatar just a few years ago, and she, I think at the time, was 59. Dude, brings it. Amazing. You sit there and the fact she's not in the Hall of Fame, it's just.
She's one I camped out for.
Pat Benatar?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, long time ago.
Like list of bands Juan camped out for.
Yeah, but Neil Giraldo played the guitar solo.
No. Yeah, exactly. He tells that story. He tells that story in concert. He tells a story about Rick Springfield's dog kind of looking at him and growling a little bit. And Rick was actually ticked off. Rick wanted to play the part, but the producer wanted Giraldo to play it. Oh yeah, back in the MTV days, man. One of the funniest ones was years ago, and it just always struck me was I was in the Memphis airport and in a club in the airport club. It was United or Northwest, whatever it was back then. It was a crowded day, probably a lot of flights. One of those days where everything's crowded, and there were hardly any seats in the place. And I guess I'd found one, and I'm sitting there with my cheese or whatever, whatever little rat food they give you in the club, and people coming and going. I can hear a voice behind me. And he says, "Yeah, what about over there? See, check that one, brother." And I said, "I know that voice." And I turn around, and it's Hulk Hogan. So I'm sitting on a chair. He's standing right behind me. So he's already a big dude. I'm looking up at Hulk Hogan. The funnier thing was the guy he was saying, check out the chair, was the Big Show.
Oh, wow.
That's a moving mountain right there. So as big as Hulk is. But the funniest thing of all was the Big Show walks over a few feet to where there looked like there might have been two seats. Now, how could they have gotten in those seats? I don't know. But he walks over, turns back around, comes back, tells Hulk, No, somebody put their purse on the chair, so I guess they're saving it. I said, that's just not character, man. And on TV, they just get out of the chair, right?
Or hit somebody with the chair.
So I give props to manners, man. It was kind of cute that the Hulk and the Big Show were not going to take a seat because some lady left her purse on it to save the spot for them. But it was, I just always remembered that one. That was a good one. That was funny.
Wrestling guys, they all the same guys still pop up. It's like a soap opera.
I can I don't watch any of the new stuff, but I can go down a rabbit trail on YouTube watching commentary of old wrestling. Like when I was growing up, when it was NWA, when that was wrestling and not the band.
Yeah.
And the old characters, Dusty Rhodes,
Junkyard Dog,
Tony Atlas, Pac Sung, Kamala. Oh, I used to live that. Eric the Red. Of course, Andre the Giant.
Smith used to be around here.
Grizzly Smith. We're going to do a wrestling show one day. Not actually wrestling, but
I'll save that for another show. Good story about wrestlers.
All right. So we'll see if any of this stuff actually stuck to tape today.
It's always, the technological possibilities of what we failed to do.
We'll go back later and see, did it record? Oh, great, it did. But thank you guys for being with us again. As we said before, if you want to contact us, it's Dave and Juan at protonmail.com. We do read them, and they're kind of funny. Thanks for the pictures. If you want to send in COOYON of the Week suggestions, go ahead and do that.
Share the video. We count on you to help us make this fun for everybody. Subscribe to the YouTube channel.
Yep. It's not a job. It's just fun. It's just fun. And the website is coming. I'm pretty sure we're going to end up with links to all of the episodes and recipes. I'm leaning toward recipes right now. And like you said, we're going to probably have some merch just to play around with, including my favorite quote of the first week.
Oh, we forgot about that.
Oh, I'll put it down.
This is the best. This made it all worth it.
It was both intellectually stimulating and incredibly dumb. Bro, that's going on a shirt.
Yeah, to me, that made this whole thing worthwhile. If nothing else ever becomes
one of the better compliments I've ever gotten. Intellectually stimulating and incredibly dumb. And we'll try to be just as stimulating and dumb next week. So good. We're going to check out.
We can do it.
Until then, appreciate it. Love you, man. Bye.
Back at you.